You was wandering off town yawning and stumbled on the Jeff Van Vondren, cause I needed
gang ever.
Didn't they do security for Eminem?
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't think I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. Like I know when a song.
Dissing President George W. Bush. Dissing President Donald Trump. Dissing both the king of pop Michael Jackson and the world's top diva Mariah Carey, no exceptions. Just saying this much, you probably already know who I'm talking about. Eminem, the most successful rapper of the modern era. The name that shattered every stereotype about white rappers in hip-hop. The man who makes other rappers tread carefully just to avoid the fear that one verse could end a career. Even the king of New York, Jay-Z, admitted he is someone you simply do not want to mess with. What kind of past forged his spotlight? What allows Eminem to stand tall and earn respect in a hip-hop culture led by people of color? Do not take your eyes off the screen, because right now, you are about to find out why rappers are so afraid of Eminem. Let's begin. Eminem, the OG who made the industry hold its breath. Eminem real name, Marshall Bruce Mathers, the third born. October 17th, 1972 is known by his stage name Eminem. He is not just a famous rapper, he is a real monster in the hip-hop industry. An OG from the same era as Snoop Dogg, but moving on a trajectory that kept the entire industry on edge. Eminem never needed to shout about power. He crushed the whole game with numbers in a way that forced everyone else into silence. When people talk about Eminem, they are forced to confront an extremely uncomfortable paradox. A rapper raised in the brutal world of battle rap packed with dense lyrics, heavy themes, dark, and even abrasive content, somehow became one of the best-selling artists in music history. Those two things are not supposed to coexist, but Eminem carried both in the same body. And that combination left the entire industry confused. Eminem is a cultural bridge. He helped hip-hop break through racial barriers, making people who never felt they belonged to this culture want to step in, want to stand inside it. Without Eminem, there would be no Rolls-Royce, no Ferrari, for many of the names you see today. You know what I mean. They would not be able to make that kind of money from their projects because there would not be such a massive audience ready to consume it. And then people look at Eminem and say, oh, why does he sell more records than everyone else? Because he's white. Sound familiar? But listen, take anyone you think is the best and put them in a room with Eminem. When I sell 13 million copies, the Marshall Mathers LP sells 23 million. So what is the real question? Is it skin color, or is it that the rest of the rap game simply cannot keep up? In an interview with Angie Martinez on Hot 97, Kanye West called Eminem the greatest rapper of all time. When asked whether that was about lyrics or sales, Kanye answered simply, everything. Skill, influence, network, everything that comes with it. There is no room for excuses. DJ Vlad once asked Corrupt about being name-checked by Eminem until I collapse. Corrupt responded with total respect. He said he had been a fan of Eminem for a long time and felt honored to be recognized by someone he considers the greatest. Corrupt said that every time he raps with Eminem, he knows he has to push himself to the absolute limit because Eminem does not play. He makes you rap harder. Then when you think you're done, he goes back into the studio and adds 4 more bars. I said, man, you already killed me, why add 4 more bars? But that's Eminem. Marshall, you're terrible in the best way possible, and I'm glad you're on my team. Drake has also publicly called Eminem the greatest rapper of all time, right there in Detroit, Eminem's hometown. Drake said that before he went on stage, Eminem encouraged him, and that a single nod from Eminem was enough to know he deserved to be there. Drake turned to the crowd and said, make some noise for the greatest rapper to ever hold a microphone, Eminem. In another interview, Charlemagne the God asked Kendrick Lamar whether being compared to Eminem was a compliment or an insult. Kendrick did not hesitate. He said it was a compliment. He said he is a student of hip-hop from Eminem, Tupac, Dre, Snoop. Kendrick stated clearly that Eminem is one of the greatest of all time, and no one can take that away from him. And when names like that say it, the rap game understands something very clearly. This is no longer a debate. It is a reality. But that still is not enough to fully prove his position. So let's step into the time machine and go back to the past when Eminem stood up against an entire industrial empire. Boo Ye Tribe. The unexpected power card. One of the wildest moments proving that toughness came when certain gangs tried to force Eminem to check in. If you do not know what check-in means, here it is. When rappers, celebrities, or public figures come to cities with strong gang activity like Los Angeles, local gangs often demand that they check in. On the surface, it sounds like a sign of respect, like saying, "I know I am on your turf, let's keep things peaceful." But in reality, it is not that simple. Most of the time, check-in is just another word for extortion. Gangs may demand money force rappers to make free music for their people, or drag them into deals that only benefit the gang. If you refuse, there are consequences. Many artists go along with it to stay safe, treating it like paying for protection. But some refuse, and Eminem was definitely one of them. When the Crips tried to pressure Eminem into submitting things, went in a very different direction. Instead of backing down or negotiating, Eminem had an ace up his sleeve. Boo-Yah Tribe. If you do not know who Boo-Yah Tribe are, they are not just a regular rap group. They have very deep connections with Samoan gangs in Los Angeles. If you understand gang culture, you know Samoan gangs, especially the Sons of Samoa, are not something to play with. On the surface, they may seem calm and friendly, but when disrespected or threatened, things can turn very bad, very fast. Those were the people standing behind Eminem. In fact, Monsta Gunja, the nephew of a Boo-Yah Tribe member, later confirmed in an interview that his uncles and their crew acted as unofficial protection for Eminem whenever he appeared in Los Angeles, making sure no one dared to touch him. In return, Eminem showed major respect by contributing a verse to the song 911. That is why the track Hip Hop is in a state of 911, with Boo-Yah Tribe and Be Real was created. Paul Rosenberg reached out because Eminem was being extorted by the Crips, and Boo-Yah did not accept that. They stepped in and protected Eminem. And that is when the following question gets answered. Why Suge Knight did not dare to go further? If you listen closely to the lyrics, you will hear Eminem repeatedly referencing the powerful backing of the Samoan crew always standing by his side. This is not just lyrical decoration. It helps explain why Eminem never appeared afraid of Suge Knight, even though Suge is known as one of the most terrifying figures in music industry history. One Boo-Yah member even said bluntly in an interview that Suge Knight himself was afraid of them. It sounds hard to believe, but in that world, fear does not always follow fame. The conflict between Eminem and Suge Knight is not talked about as much as it should be, but it is a story that shows just how insane the rap game was back then. It all started when Dr. Dre left Death Row Records. When Dre signed Eminem and later brought 50 Cent into the game, they essentially inherited all the unfinished beef between Dre and Suge. In that world, grudges do not need to be announced. They just get passed along. And Suge, true to his nature, was never going to let that slide. He repeatedly tried to cause problems. One time, while 50 Cent was filming the Inda Club video, someone shouted, "Suge Knight is here." The entire set instantly went into chaos. Suge showed up with around 30 people, reportedly members of a Mexican gang. That was Suge's usual move. Show up unexpectedly, display power, and make everyone wonder what would happen next. Eminem was there too. And true to his style, he did not back down. No panic, no hiding, no disappearing. That moment made many people in the industry start looking at Eminem and 50 Cent differently. Not because they wanted confrontation, but because they did not fear it when it came. Then there was the incident at the Source Awards in 2001, an event that nearly spiraled out of control. Eminem performed with D12. Due to the rules, security was not allowed to sit close to the artists. As Eminem was walking back to his seat, a group of people wearing red surrounded him. That was a well-known sign of the Bloods, a gang linked to Suge Knight. Eminem's security recognized the danger and rushed in just in time. A few seconds later, and no one knows what could have happened. The tension later escalated to an extreme level at an event in Hawaii. According to security accounts, there was information that Suge was planning to harm Eminem. Suge was reportedly flying more than 50 people from Los Angeles to Hawaii. What should have been a vacation instantly turned into a high-alert situation. Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and their families had to wear bulletproof vests and stay armed. Honolulu police were forced to step in and escort them. This was no longer rap beef. This was survival. If Suge Knight had ever truly touched Eminem, the consequences could have gone far beyond control. Because Eminem's connections with Samoan gangs were not rumors. Sons of Samoa originated in the mid-1980s in Long Beach, then spread to Hawaii and many parts of California, like San Jose, Oakland, and Hayward. They were known for aggression, intimidation, tactics, extortion, and a willingness to use violence. And in that world, there are lines that even the most feared figures do not dare to cross. One name that comes to mind immediately is MGK, the rapper Eminem sent out of the rap game. MGK, the blade that ended a career. The story between Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem was not a sudden explosion. It was a time bomb. Everything started back in 2012 when MGK posted a tweet saying that Eminem's daughter looked hot. At the time, Eminem did not respond. But in rap, silence does not mean forgetting. It only means remembering. By May 2017, MGK began pushing the conflict into the open. On the radio, he declared, "I don't rap to ruin his career, so I don't care about his career." That is the kind of statement people make when they want to appear fearless, but accidentally reveal how much they are thinking about the other person. Later in 2017, the song No Reason was released with Tech N9, where MGK dropped a line aimed directly at Marshall's rap god persona. Tech N9 later had to clarify that he and the producer had no idea MGK was dissing Eminem. From that moment on, MGK was standing alone in a game he thought he had allies in. Eminem finally struck back with "Not alike." No rambling, no performance, just a cold warning about continuing to mention his daughter. That was the line. MGK chose to cross it, and he crossed it with Rap Devil. In that track, MGK crowned himself the Rap Devil, attacked Eminem's appearance, called his last 4 albums trash, suggested that Marshall was afraid of his music getting radio play, and even dragged Kim, Eminem's ex-wife, into the story. That was the moment MGK believed he was on equal ground. Then Killshot arrived and destroyed that illusion completely. Eminem called MGK a stan, emphasized that at the age of 45, he was still outselling younger rappers, and placed MGK next to names like Ja Rule and Benzino, people who once thought they were strong enough to challenge him, but were eventually swallowed by history. Killshot reached 38 million streams in a single day, not because of gimmicks, but because the entire world wanted to see the outcome. MGK tried to brush it off, calling it a shot to the leg, continuing to mock Eminem on stage and on social media. But reality surfaced quickly. The EP Binge dropped in the aftermath of the beef, heavily promoted, yet its first week sales were just over 21,000 units, with physical album sales under 10,000. For an artist who had just challenged Eminem, that was not a small failure. It was the market answering back. From that point on, MGK stopped moving upward in rap. He kept mentioning Eminem, kept trolling, kept reacting whenever Eminem stayed silent. But the attention was no longer there. When Eminem refused to perform Killshot because he didn't want to give that guy more spotlight, the game was over. Not with a rap line, but with indifference. The album Hotel Diablo showed MGK starting to change direction. And with Tickets to My Downfall, he officially left rap to move into pop punk, where he found more success. That was not evolution. It was an exit. MGK did not disappear, but his rap career did. And that is Eminem's victory. Not because Eminem destroyed a person, but because Eminem forced his opponent to leave the game he once claimed he wanted to dominate. Eminem, the one who keeps the entire industry on defense. When people talk about the fear associated with Eminem, most stop at specific examples. Diss tracks that made opponents disappear. Feature verses where the other artist gets overshadowed. Record sales that blow past the norm. But if we only see Eminem as a collection of cases, we miss the most important thing. What truly keeps the entire hip-hop industry on defense is not any single action, but the way Eminem exists within the structure of the industry itself. Eminem does not play by conventional rules. He did not build his career on a polished image, does not operate through branding strategies, and does not adjust his music to please each era's taste. When the industry shifted into the social media age, where artists live on Instagram more than in the studio, Eminem practically vanished from that space. When rap began prioritizing vibe melody and TikTok virality, Eminem made no effort to chase trends. He did not try to make himself younger, did not try to prove he was still relevant. simply because Eminem has never accepted the role of someone who chases the times. In an industry where most artists are obsessed with the question, "Am I still relevant?" Eminem stands outside that anxiety. He does not need to be timely because he is the measuring stick that tells others where they stand in the flow of rap. When a new rapper appears, the first question is, never does he sound like Eminem, but how does he compare to Eminem? That assumption is the dangerous part. Eminem does not need to fight for the spotlight, because the spotlight automatically has to account for him whether he shows up or not. This creates a very specific paradox. While most artists must constantly change to survive, Eminem survives by not changing his core position. His lyric writing technique, the complexity of his rhyme structures, his control of rhythm, the precision of his delivery. None of these elements are outdated, nor are they updated. They remain fixed at such a high standard that every change around them only makes that stability stand out more. The hip-hop industry operates like a constant current. Every few years, a new wave appears, a new style of rapping, a new definition of what is considered elite. But Eminem exists like a fixed marker on the riverbank. The water may change direction, the speed may rise or fall, but the marker stays there. And every time the industry wants to confirm that it has evolved, it circles back to compare itself to that marker, to see whether current skills have truly surpassed it, or are just moving around it through different paths. That is why Eminem does not need to join debates about who the best rapper right now is. His mere existence makes that debate uneven. A rapper who publicly challenges Eminem is not just facing an individual, but an entire reference system that the industry has quietly accepted for more than 2 decades. This is fundamentally different from a normal beef. Beef is a collision between 2 lines. Challenging Eminem is colliding with a coordinate axis. The industry's defensive posture does not come from emotional fear, it comes from calculation. A rapper understands very clearly that once Eminem enters any comparison, whether intentional or accidental, the evaluation standard is instantly raised to the harshest level. Every technical flaw, every weakness in writing, every gap in stage control is magnified. And the most dangerous part is that Eminem does not need to respond. Being placed next to him alone already forces the other person to explain far too many things. In that context, Eminem becomes a kind of immovable benchmark. Others change to adapt, while Eminem forces others to change how they evaluate themselves. Every generation of rappers goes through this, from the major names of the 2000s to later breakout artists. Whether they want it or not, they are placed on the scale against Eminem. Not because they resemble him, but because the industry needs a standard to know where it stands. And this is the deepest reason Eminem is rarely attacked head-on. Not because he is too dangerous in beef, but because attacking him offers no strategic gain. You cannot tear down a benchmark. You can only prove that you have surpassed it. And surpassing something that does not move is the hardest challenge of all. It does not make mistakes, does not decline in cycles, does not need to reprove its value. It simply stands there silent, waiting for you to measure yourself against it. In an industry driven by attention, Eminem exists as a test of skill, of nerve, of the ability to stand firm without trends backing you. And that is why, even when he is not always at the media center, Eminem still makes the entire industry keep a safe distance. Not because they hate him, but because they understand the price of confronting something that does not need to win, because it has never lost. And if you know, you will be compared to something that does not move, something that does not age in terms of skill, something that does not need to reprove its worth. Would you still dare to attack it? A brilliant musical journey. If you only look at Eminem as a dangerous battle rapper or a frightening symbol in the rap game, you are only seeing half the picture. The other half, and the half that has made the entire industry hold its breath for the long term, lies in what Eminem has achieved through real results, not through declarations. Eminem does not just win arguments, he wins on the charts in revenue and awards, and even in film, a field that many rappers have tried to enter and failed. First is the music. Eminem is not a rapper who sells big because of a short phase or a trend. He is one of the very few hip-hop artists able to maintain massive sales across multiple decades. Albums like the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, The Eminem Show, were not only commercial successes, they became cultural milestones. They sold tens of millions of copies in an era when hip-hop was still seen as a fringe genre in the mainstream market. What matters is that Eminem achieved this without softening his content. His lyrics are not friendly, not easy to listen to, not designed to please the audience. Yet that is exactly what created a paradox. The rougher, more personal, darker he became, the more he reached the masses. From a creative perspective, Eminem opened a new space for hip-hop. He proved that rap could be extremely technical, deeply narrative, and still operate on a global scale. This created a strategic advantage for the entire industry. After Eminem record labels were forced to look at hip-hop differently, rap was no longer just a niche product. It became a core revenue pillar. And Eminem, a white rapper, was the one who pushed that door open the widest. This made many people uncomfortable, but it cannot be denied. When a white rapper became the face of hip-hop's profit potential, the entire power structure of the industry was forced to adjust. Beyond music, Eminem also achieved something very few rappers truly carried through crossing into film and leaving a real mark. 8 Mile was not a rapper movie made just for fun. It was a semi-autobiographical work where Eminem did not just act, but placed his entire life story on the screen. The film succeeded both commercially and critically, becoming one of the most iconic hip-hop films in history. More importantly, it accomplished something many other projects failed to do. It allowed audiences who were not rap fans to still understand and still connect. The peak of that cinematic impact came when Eminem won an Oscar for the theme song. For the first time in history, a white rapper coming from underground battle rap stood at the top of Hollywood through his own rap lyrics. That moment was not just a personal victory, it was a symbolic shock. Rap, a genre once seen as rebellious and street, was now honored on the most powerful stage in cinema. And the person representing that moment was Eminem himself. These achievements created an advantage no other rapper can replicate. Eminem is not just a successful artist, he became the reference point for every debate about success in hip-hop. When people talk about sales, Eminem appears. When they talk about awards, Eminem appears. When they talk about breaking beyond music, Eminem still appears. This forces every other rapper, no matter how talented, to face an uncomfortable question: if Eminem can do all of that without losing his identity, then where is the true limit of hip-hop? As a white rapper, Eminem also carries double pressure. He is not allowed to be average. Being merely average would already get him eliminated. That is why every one of Eminem's achievements carries double weight. When he breaks sales records, it is not just a personal accomplishment, it is a living rebuttal to every doubt about his legitimacy in hip-hop culture. When he wins major awards, it is not just recognition, it is acceptance from a system that once doubted rap. The impression Eminem leaves is not that he is the most successful white rapper. It is that he forced the entire industry to change how it evaluates success. Before Eminem, people could separate art and commerce. After Eminem, that separation became fragile. He proved that a rapper could be extreme in expression, dominate the market, and cross into film without being seen as selling out. These achievements are the deepest foundation of the fear the entire rap game has toward Eminem. Not because he is overly aggressive, not because he disses a lot, but because he has gone so far that no one can deny it. When you stand next to Eminem, you are not just being compared to a rapper, you are being compared to a living record, a chain of achievements recognized by history, and a model the entire industry has grown accustomed to using to measure itself. And in a culture where honor is tied to the ability to hold a microphone that is pressure very few are willing to carry. The big conclusion why this fear never disappears. At this point, if we still say that rappers fear Eminem in the usual sense, that is an oversimplification, even a misunderstanding. This is not the fear of the weak facing the strong, not trembling, not avoidance, not terror. The feeling that blankets the rap game when Eminem is mentioned is a different kind of fear, colder, more calculated, and far more dangerous. People fear being placed next to Eminem, fear being pulled into the same frame of comparison, fear standing on the same stage in the same story, in the same moment, where every eye is focused on a single question: who is truly better? In hip-hop, losing has never been the end. You can lose money and start over. Many rappers have gone bankrupt, lost contracts, lost hits, then come back stronger. You can also lose image, be called outdated, be labeled washed up, be turned into a meme. Those things can be fixed. Change the team, change the style, change the story, and time will do the rest. Hip-hop has always been a culture of rebirth, of standing back up after being knocked down. But there is one kind of failure hip-hop does not forgive. That is absolute skill defeat in front of the entire world. Not losing one song, not losing one moment, but losing in a comparison where everyone can see the result. When you are placed next to Eminem and everyone hears it, understands it, and recognizes the gap, there is no way back. No narrative can save you from the feeling that you were just measured and measured as insufficient. That kind of failure is almost impossible to recover from, because it cuts into the core of hip-hop, the ability to hold a microphone. That is why Eminem does not need to provoke. He does not need to threaten. He does not need to declare himself number one. He does not need to step out and challenge anyone. His existence alone is a constant reminder, an immovable benchmark that the entire industry is forced to measure itself against. Others can chase trends, can change sounds, can change writing styles, can change audiences. Eminem does not. He exists as a marker, and every new generation, whether it wants to or not, is pulled into comparison with that marker. In an industry where many survive through image, through story, through viral moments, Eminem survives through consistency of skill. This creates an uncomfortable paradox, because if you beat Eminem, you will never be fully believed. People will say it was luck timing or tactics. But if you lose to Eminem, you are framed forever. Not because Eminem says anything, but because history speaks for him. That is why many smart rappers choose not to step into this danger zone. Not because they lack confidence, but because they understand the cost. A beef can bring short-term spotlight, but if that spotlight shines directly on a skill gap, that light will burn you before you have time to enjoy it. Eminem understands this, and the entire industry understands it too. So everything is kept at just the right level. Praise, respect comparisons are avoided, and the biggest questions are never asked directly. And that is exactly why this fear never disappears. Because it is not based on fleeting emotion, but on an uncomfortable truth that endures over time. As long as hip-hop values the ability to hold a microphone, as long as rap remains a game of words and rhythm, Eminem will still be there. Without needing to do anything more, without needing to say anything more, simply existing and letting the entire industry know its limits.
We encourage viewers to approach the content with an open mind, critical thinking, and to always cross-reference with multiple sources in order to form their own perspective. That's the reality of the game. Fame always comes with a price. If you vibe with the content and want the real uncut stories, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the Black Vault.